Right then, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson, Ronaldo Brown.
It's not even working. It's not even working, man.
Yeah, so
not even.
this is really important to do at the start of the show. Ronaldo's trying to find a charger.
Have you not got a charger, Joseph Smith?
Anyway, we all right? Everyone having a good time? United have been linked with Matheus Cunha. Not as important as Ronaldo's charger, obviously.
Listen, obviously, going to the gym after this, my phone's dying. Ideally, if I'm on camera, I'd like
take a charger with you.
To charge. Do you know what? All right, but anyway, enough about me. Here to talk about Matheus Cunha to United. While I stress about my phone dying behind me. But you know what? Half the reason why my phone's dying is because there's been news left, right and centre, really, isn't it? It's just...
Because I haven't seen any today.
It's just literally...
Went to the gym, clean the bathroom.
Clean the bathroom?
Yeah.
You pre-planned to mention that, innit?
No.
Yeah.
Just thought...
Because Janine says you clean nothing.
It's not true.
Get the timer going as well. So
what I'm trying to illustrate is I haven't been on my phone seeing what's happening.
Okay.
What's popping off.
Do you want me to tell you what's popping off?
Yeah, tell me what's popping off.
It's basically looking like Matheus Cunha is already like, what, more than halfway through the door.
Oh, nice.
I think he's basically...
There was some strange reactions from and to him
Yeah.
on Sunday at the game. People was going, with a bit of hindsight, the way he was moving, having a walk around the place on his own.
Have you seen that stat? Percentage of time spent walking in the Premier League and Matheus Cunha is at the top.
Oh, right. Okay.
Out of all players.
What's the context around that, though? Because, like...
The context probably is the fact that he's Wolves' best player by far, so he's just a bit of a maverick for him. So it's sometimes you have to contextualise it.
He also presses his bollocks
Yeah,
off.
you have to contextualise it in a way where... Yeah, exactly. He could be walking, but the other bit of running he does is high-speed running and pressing. And sometimes probably he's left upfield. But it does more or less look like this will be one of those deals that might be sorted before the transfer window even is upon us. It almost like it's going to be a pre-agreement. Got like 6 weeks left, and it's like, from by all accounts, and just even the way that he was moving at Old Trafford and his interactions with Amorim, he looks like he's desperate to come. Some people do have reservations, because you can see it in two different ways. When a player's desperate to come to United, the last person who would be desperate to come to United was Anthony. Doesn't work. Didn't work out too well. But then also, you've got the aspect of, as United fans, we said we want players that are here because they want to be here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if
it's still a big deal, man. Yeah. Even if we finish right next to Wolves in the table at the end of the season, you can't tell me that that's the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. But it's more, the thing is, I don't think Cunha's talent's in question. And I'm pretty sure he'll be a brilliant signing. I think he'll be a sensational signing. You can see how good he is. And I'm not judging it just off the United game, which you could tell he was half-arsing it a bit, but he was still probably one of the best players on the pitch.
He wasn't the only one.
It was very pre-season.
It was such a bizarre game. It was almost like they had a chat in the tunnel and was like, lads, we're going to phone this in today or what?
It's the time of the season where...
Fredrickson didn't get that text, by the look.
Yeah, where Wolves were safe, so they're just not really... They're just basically counting down the games until the season's over. And then United don't care about the league anymore because United are safe and we're not going to qualify for Europe in the league.
Team selection's shown you that.
Yeah.
Everyone was clearly coming down from a high. Like, the ground was mad on Sunday. People were... Like, people like you have your little rotation of people that you always let onto at the game. Everyone was just going like this. Don't think it'll be like Thursday. Like, you know, people were still finding the Reds, I think, after the utter carnage that we saw on Thursday.
Yeah. Exactly, but do you know what?
Which I've not even seen you since.
You know why? I said this to Spencer earlier because I've not been in...
Bank holiday.
The bank holiday weekend though, but it's the Easter one where you're off Friday and Monday. I feel like it is a day too long for me. Do you know what I mean? I think the ones where it's Saturdays, Sunday,
cheeky
Monday,
Friday off, or cheeky Monday off.
Cheeky Monday off. I feel like it was a day too long. But sometimes when I come back, I feel a bit out of whack. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to upgrade my phone, and I was like, bastards, when did I email them? And I was like, 5 days? Oh no, I emailed them like an hour and a half ago, technically, in terms of work hours.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 days, but like it was
was
literally an hour and a half ago.
And another thing is, news like this always pops off more, I feel like, when you're not in the office or there's no work days, because it's not just been Cunha. Obviously, you've got Cunha, but then you've got the links to the lap. You've got articles about, I think we've just had news now that Stantuono, if that, I might have butchered the pronunciation of that, which is the Argentinian wonder kid, left foot.
The centre half?
No, he's like a right cam. He basically suits the system. But he's 17 years old and he's
the River Plate one?
River Plate. So, but Chelsea are in for him as well, because Chelsea do like that age profile.
Chelsea just like spending money.
You know what I mean? I think it'd be silly if he went there though. Really.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who do go there.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we have to decide though, and I've obviously seen a lot of opinions on it already, is Cunha's got a release clause of 62.5 million, or in the ballpark of that. And the question is, with United, the amount of needs that we do have in the squad, and the budget probably not going to be that extensive in the summer window, it's about whether he'll be worth that. I think in terms of his talent and ability, it's pretty much right.
And I think tactical fit as well makes a hell of a lot of sense. And maybe there's just not a case of that you're not going to patch up everything in one window. And is it a case of if you buy cheap or buy wrong, you buy twice, and they've gone, well, we know he is a tactical fit for what we need, so we don't maybe mind pushing the ball out of touch for him. Maybe we'll see more like Dorgu, where it's like a little bit cheaper. They're more of a gamble. Maybe we'll see some free transfers where they're like, whatever. But we'll be a bit more strategic, I'd hope, and not spend like... You got to think, we spent 60 million on Mason Mount, didn't have a clue where he was going to play.
Well, with Cunha, you do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point that I'm making.
And United need to buy players with versatility, because obviously Matheus Cunha can play, obviously out wide, he can play in a 10 position, which is probably his best off the strike, second striker kind of vibe. But he can also play up front as well. He's not alien to that either.
No. And he scores goals. And he scores goals in a shit team, which guess what? We are.
Do you know what I mean? That's exactly... Oh yeah, so he's just going from poor team to poor team. But as I've said, because to be fair to you, I'm going to ask you, Steve, you've been upset. He's been whining so much about the fact that he doesn't think United have that much money to play with in the summer. So Cunha, I think Cunha wouldn't flop. I think he'd be a good signing. I think he'd be great. But it's just about whether outside of that, when it comes to probably us needing a wing back, a midfielder, a striker. Are we going to have our hands tied behind our backs once we get to addressing those other positions? Unless we sell...
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah,
and it don't happen. You can't... Like, some people's out lists that I've seen have been like 3 sides of A4. And you're like, there's just... like, it's not doable.
Because... what
people are selling the stadium announcer and everything. Like, it's just fucking bananas. You like... There has to be some level of a squad into next year. In fact, it might be a good one for us to do. Maybe we'll do it next week or the week after for XG files. Your 25-man squad and my 25-man squad.
Okay. Perspective kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because what we don't want to happen is United buy Matheus Cunha for 65 million because they get to do it. Obviously, spread the cost out a little bit if they pay above the release clause. And then because of that, Ineos then check the books and they have to call an extensive meeting of all the staff in Carrington.
Yeah. You're all paying £2.50 for a can now.
And they go, you know the red button game? When like you and your mates put your finger on it and it's like whoever lands on red, you have to pay the bill. You don't have to do that and say, if it lands on red on your finger, you're sacked. I'm just saying, there's probably going to be more cost cuts. And I don't know, I like the signing, but I just feel like it's one of those where he comes in and then we don't get to address as many other needs as well. That's always a concern. And then we end up having a bit of a lateral move as well, because Matheus Cunha on his own won't change much for United. It'll improve us slightly, but I think there's a lot of other issues in the squad as well.
That's the problem, is any signing, and even if he's a big one, and 60-odd million... weirdly isn't even close to what being one of our biggest ever signings, but he would probably be our biggest investment this summer, I expect. People are going to expect him to single-handedly transform some shit. That's not going to happen. Just before I get into the worries with his so-called attitude, which I have got some questions about, by the way. Just allow us 90 seconds to pay the bills. Is that all right? Is that all right with you? Check this out. Now, I've spoken before about how low testosterone affected me. There's low energy, there's poor sleep, brain fog, complete lack of motivation, all of that. And I ignored the signs for a long, long time. I put it down to stress or getting older. And eventually, when I got tested, my levels were low in a toilet. Starting testosterone replacement therapy was one of the best things that I did for my physical, but also my mental health as well. So I would say loads of people who come to me and say, I'm struggling with my sleep, struggling with motivation. I haven't got the energy to train.
But anyway, are we back? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Are we back? We are back. Whoops.
Do apologise. Yep, it's not quite gone to plan there.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, what?
Sorry.
Spencer, that. I think he clicked the wrong button. Listen, I'm not saying go and take medication, because that's what it is, if you don't need medication. I'm saying go get checked, because it is something that a lot of people don't. It's not something that's in people's sort of wheelhouse to go get checked. You know, people will go to the doctors when they have an ache or a pain or this, that and the other, but hormones isn't something that people are as proactive as they could be in terms of going getting sorted out. And there's particular jobs or careers which are way more susceptible to issues with their hormones, which means that they should definitely go and get them checked out if they're feeling like they're not themselves. Like I said, you know, I had a real turnaround with stuff, and getting my levels sorted out was an absolute massive key to that. So we can give you 45% off on getting yourself checked out. Link for that will be in the description. It'll be in the chat as well. So go and check it out. Like I said, I'm not saying go and get on medication. Hopefully you go and get checked and it's like your levels are fine, and then you'd be like, right, okay, well, do I need to look at my sleep? Am I having caffeine too late? Am I working out too late at night? Am I not working out enough? You know, whatever it is in your life, because there's a ton of factors which can affect all sorts of different stuff, but you figure it out. But it's just eliminating one of those things, because it can be as simple as, oh yeah, my fucking testosterone's in a toilet. This is why I feel like this. So it's worth going checking out. Happy? Happy. Right, so Cunha, the so-called attitude issues. So I've just had a quick Google here. Back in December, he got a 2-match ban and 80 grand fine after he robbed someone's glasses.
At the training ground?
An Ipswich Town staff member. In March, in an FA Cup game against Bournemouth, he got sent off for headbutting Kirkes during stoppage time. He got a 4-match suspension, that's what he's been out for up until, was his first game back against us? Off the field in April. He posted a photo saying, I will follow my dreams, not yours.
Basically saying to Wolves fans, while he's still there, I'm leaving.
Yep. He gets involved in debates with fans in the comments. That's going to be fun at United.
Yeah. If he's lashing out at Wolves fans in comments on social media, then Jesus Christ, he might need a phone ban when he's at Manchester United. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I still think his talent and ability supersedes the potential attitude issues for me. So I'm not too worried about that. And I think sometimes, no disrespect to Wolves, but there can be a little bit of an attitude elevation once you go to a big club. Just because the expectations are a bit higher, the pressure's on you a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Where Matheus Cunha's at Wolves as a big fish in a small pond, thinking he's above certain things. Do you know what I mean? He might not quite be like that at Manchester United.
The amount of comments you're going to get as a United player versus what you get as a Wolves player.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not even the same game, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. But anyway, I think we pretty much know that it's looking like it's a signing that will happen.
And who's not nutted someone at football?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think everyone's... I've never headbutted someone. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's too much self-pain jeopardy in that for me if you get the technique wrong. so I wouldn't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's hard.
You love a throat grab though. That's your go-to move. Is the
Do you know what I've
Simpson.
realised? I think it's not a throat grab. I think I go straight rugby league with it. Do you know they love a thingy hold. I think it's that. And I realised that's rugby league, innit? Or is it
Possibly,
rugby? Yeah. They just grab each other like that. You can't really do much someone can't do much when you've got them grab like that, you know, if you're strong enough.
But you can get ragdolled around.
Yes,
for sure.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm hoping someone doesn't do that to me. I think I got sent off here for Paddock doing that as well.
Yeah, you have. How many red cards have you had?
2.
No, it feels like more than that.
I had 2, which is mad because I didn't have loads of reds growing up either. But I'd always be in flash points because I was regularly fouled and I'd react as well. But do you know what I mean? So but I feel like the jeopardy is a bit higher for someone like Matheus Cunha when he's at Manchester United because he's doing that in a potential Champions League tie next season if we win Europa. Do you know what I mean?
So what's he missed 6 games this season by being a bell?
Yeah, and he's also obviously. But the thing is, he's been at a big club before, which obviously helps him. He was at Atletico Madrid. Didn't quite work out for him.
We actually did a worry with.
Yeah.
When he was at Atletico before he went to Wolves.
Yes. But I think like he sometimes found himself. Some people mature later. He's always had really good ability, and that's what he expected. And Atletico Madrid are known for selling people maybe when he shouldn't have. So,
are Ronnie and Steve tied on red cards? No, we're not. I've had way more than that. I've only had 1 this season, and it was an absolute disgrace, by the way, as well. It's 2 yellows. I was managed to get 2 yellows. Fucking joke.
That's true. It's true. Do you know what? On this? I think if we get Cunha though for that amount of money, then I'm not sure United can then afford to get Howson up front, which is what seems 90% of United fans want.
I saw a comment
over Liam
Delap. Stop settling for Delap or trying to make Delap happen. Like, mate, it's got nothing to do with who I want.
You have no concept of money.
Yeah, like I'm just saying it's probably who we're going to end up with. Like,
I see so many comments. I see so many comments when we link to people like Cunha and Mbeumo and Semenyo and these good Premier League players, or just basically any player that isn't got star power about him in a sense, like an Howson. Anytime we link to players that are not like them, you see all these United fans and they're just like proper entitled. Like, we're Manchester United, what we're doing with Mbeumo and Cunha. These players are not world class, not going to do anything. And basically, I feel like these have the belief that United can go into a transfer window and sign 4 or 5 world class players. And I'm not sure where people have got that notion from. I don't know where people think we've got that amount of money from. And I don't know how desirable we are to players that are usually playing for other Champions League clubs to come to United. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good Matheus Cunha going, I'm going to go to Manchester United even though they don't have Champions League football. But he's coming from Wolves, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he's...
Yeah. United have never shopped from other European giants. We've never signed Barcelona. Or if we do, you get the cast-offs. You get the knockdowns. You don't get their star players, do you?
No.
If you want a star player, you go to your B level. Your Benficas, your Dortmunds, your Portos, like that sort of Monaco. There's always been pretty good shopping to be had at those sorts of clubs. And those players, Sporting, Bruno, Nani, Ronaldo, those always do yield quite good signings for you. But I think if you looked at it pound for pound, probably our most successful shopping destination is probably the Prem.
I feel like it has become more like that.
Van Persie,
Fergie was a fan
Carrick,
of that. Yeah.
Roy Keane, Wayne Rooney, Tevez. You look at some of the signings, Berbatov even, like the hit rate for other Premier League players, and why are we signing blah 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 blah. Tevez and Mascherano, yes, it was corrupt as hell how they ended up there in the first place, but Tevez and Mascherano was at West Ham and just avoided relegation. So there's nothing wrong with going, and they were both world class, right? Let's have it right. And where they went afterwards, City, United, Juventus for Tevez, Liverpool, Barcelona for Mascherano. Their careers post West Ham, where they both literally by a ball hair avoided relegation, tells you that they were world class. So you can't tell me that there's not world class players in relegation dogfights, because there is. And Cunha could be
or maybe
one
not
of
world
those.
class now, but primed to become.
Yeah.
Because I've had an argument all day because I'm a huge fan of Brian Mbeumo. I think he's someone that's on. He's got the Sadio Mane arc about him. I think.
Even Liverpool, Van Dijk and Mane from
Southampton. Thingy from Hull City.
Robertson.
Andy Robertson.
Yeah, I mean,
they got Jota from Wolves, and I know he's had good moments for him. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of talent in it because I'm not gonna lie to you. I know he's probably not good enough for where Arsenal are going to now, but he's been a serviceable signing for him. Trossard.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, like he's had decent numbers, scored big goals, and they only signed him for what was it, 25 million?
Arsenal had a couple of the opposite ones actually though, because I mean, but it made no sense at the time.
Jesus, Zinchenko.
Yeah, those two signings, paying 100 million for those two was bonkers. I thought it was bonkers at the time for signing both of those two, and they didn't really move the needle for him.
Yeah.
And now they're both pure squad players.
I'm not gonna lie to you, they did move the needle.
You think?
They signed him the 22-23 season. That's when Arsenal just went out of nowhere and almost won the title. They like leveled up out of nowhere. They went from being like fifth-ish, trying to get top 4 to like straight in the title race, and it was probably some of the best football they've played under Arteta, to be fair. But obviously it's fell down the wayside now. But I think there's a lot of talent within the Premier League. I know, but the thing is now there's a Premier League premium as well, and you can't get the better players from lower Premier League sides for as cheap as you would be able to in the past.
And hopefully it means that we don't ever look at Jared Branthwaite.
That's gone quiet, that.
Good.
That's gone quiet.
I hope it's because Everton slapped. I hope it's because Everton did two things. One, got safe, and two, slapped a ridiculous fee on him.
Probably. I think Jared Branthwaite, but he could have probably end up going out somewhere else in it. But obviously Everton staying in the Premier League will make his price tag a little bit higher as well. Obviously you've seen with Liam Delap how it's going to be a situation where it's...
Who just got confirmed relegated at the weekend, by the way? Was it...
Leicester.
Was it Leicester, yeah?
Leicester, I think.
Is it all three of them confirmed now? Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester, all confirmed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should be... If you got Cunha...
I want to see who we can buy in the Championship as well.
Yeah, I had a quick glance last week, and it was just a cursory glance. I've not had a proper look, but because we should do a whole video on that. 5 players that you could sign from the Championship.
There's been so many Championship players that have come to the Premier League and turned out to be absolutely elite.
It's a great transition league.
But what I've said is, optics-wise, if United get linked to Championship players, every
there's a section of our fan base melts.
Yeah, melts and just be like, Championship players, what? And it's just ignoring the likes of Elise from the Championship, Adam Morton from the Championship, Eze from the Championship, Grealish from the Championship, Tony from the Championship, Morgan Rogers, Aston Villa bought him from Middlesbrough in the Championship.
Everyone from fucking Ipswich at the moment.
Obviously, Liam Delap was playing for Hull. Was it last season?
Yeah.
And
I have no dramas with it.
There's probably more. If there's any more that have come from the Championship to the Premier League.
If you added Cunha, Delap and Diblin into the rotation with the rest of our forwards, so you still have Højlund probably.
Diblin's 100 million though, according to Southampton.
He's not. They'll just set their stall out. They'll probably take 40. You still got Højlund, you still got Xerxes, you still got Ahmad, you still got Garnacho, I assume, unless you flip one of those. I still don't think that forward line quite gets enough to go and challenge for Champions League. It certainly doesn't finish 14th though.
I do agree. I agree with that. Someone's replied to what was said about the Championship players is what have they won? That's typical.
Cool.
That's what I found I'm talking about.
Cool.
João Pedro's another one.
Roy Keane got relegated.
Brighton signed João Pedro from, was it Watford in the Championship? It's full of talent, man. But it's just whether United are brave enough to kind of dip in there.
Go through that. So if you said, right, Cunha, let's say if he gets 15 goals next year, because he tracks about that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's on 14 this year. I think he's played 25, 26 games, something like that in full. So Cunha delivers 15. I reckon Ahmad's good for 15 next year.
Okay.
Your centre forward's not enough. Let's say you got 10 out of Xerxes, which is a lot for him. I'm just going to completely skip over Højlund. And let's say you did bring in a Diblin. Can he get 8, 9, 10? Could you your main centre forward, unless it's Cunha? What if he completely shocks us and he goes with Cunha and he has Xerxes and Ahmad either side of him or something like that?
Exactly. But my thing was, in an ideal world, I'd like Cunha, Olseman, Brian Mbeumo and the Lap, which is obviously impossible because that's veering into the financially impossible because Brian Mbeumo's got 1 year left on his contract in the summer. But that didn't stop United from spending nearly 60 million on Mason Mount.
You've got to think it's different board now.
And also, sometimes people do provide context, which is correct. Sometimes you hear they've got a year left in the summer, so they'll be cheap. Not always the case because if it's a really good player and they've got a year left, there's a bidding war, isn't there?
There can be.
So the price gets bumped up that way. Do you know what I mean? If it's just one or two teams going in for him or one team going in for him, really, then you can probably get a cheaper price. But if it's like someone like Brian Mbeumo and there's like 3 or 4 elite teams saying, "Oh, I'll sign him for this much," then Brentford can obviously play on that a little bit negotiation wise, and they'll still get a decent fee even though he has a year left.
They also might do the maths and say, with him we'll finish X and without him we'll finish Y. Therefore, we'll just roll the dice and we'll try and blood someone over this next 12 months with him as a mentor and hope that guy can kick on next year. So we're happy to lose him for free, actually.
Exactly. Championship wise, Rafinha from Leeds.
I mean, that's a mad one. Because he's doing something that we never thought. Gyökeres. He's not doing the Prem, though.
Gyökeres from Coventry in the Championship to Racing up Europe.
Was he in League One with them as well?
I think so. I think he was at Brighton earlier in his career, as well.
Yeah.
Weird arcs.
Didn't play at all.
Yeah, weird arc. But yeah, I think. But you know what? Mason... Alex Bailey says, Mbeumo were not fit. I told you this on Twitter. You're wrong, mate. Mbeumo was a right wing, not a... Mbeumo's main position is a right winger. But people think it's like FIFA, so he can't play in a right attacking mid position, which Brian Mbeumo has actually played loads for Brentford, by the way. They've had formations where they've played 3-5-2, where he's played as a second striker, off Whistle or off Tony. Before. He's played in a 3-4-2-1 under Frank, where he's been one of the 10s. He's played that loads as well. He's played right wing in a 4-3-3, was elite at that as well. And then he's also played up top on his own. People are acting as if Brian Mbeumo's not a versatile player, and he actually is one of the more versatile forwards that are in the league today. But people just see him on a team sheet or being quite casual and saying he's a right winger, so he can't play right attacking mid. If that's the case, mate, Garnacho, get rid of him then. He's a left winger and he can't play in this system. Seems to be doing all right past few games. I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of... this is the problem, right? There isn't one right answer. There isn't the one obvious player that's obviously for sale, that's obviously a good price, that's obviously a tactical fit for United that you can get. And maybe Cunha is one of the more obvious ones of that. And I guess even he's not 10 out of 10 perfect because there is this bit of a bell on socials side to him, but I don't necessarily mind it. What are you kicking off at?
Brian Mbeumo's not Manchester United level. What the fuck is Manchester United level right now? What is Manchester United level?
I think he could be 14th in the league.
What is this? He's not Manchester United level you're talking about. What is that level?
Because I'll tell you this for free. Every fucking one of them forwards that are playing up front for us right now are not Manchester United level.
Brian Mbeumo's good for Brentford. These are such casual takes, man, and they get on my nerves.
But aren't they like six positions higher than us in the league?
It's so casual, these opinions. Do you know what I mean? It's like... Brian, I looked to the data as well. Brian Mbeumo, since the last 3 Premier League seasons, only Isak, Watkins, Salah, Haaland and Saka have more goals and assists than him. And he's playing for fucking Brentford. And he's playing for elite teams, by the way.
He's a problem.
Do you know what I mean? I don't...
And he raises the physical floor of us.
Do you know what I mean? It's just the naive, casual, he's playing for Brentford, so he's not very good. All right, then. Fair enough. But it's absolute nonsense, mate. Nonsense. You're watching Manchester United right now for this is 17th. but you're playing like a mid-table side, not scoring goals.
Ronnie, we've got a forward line that wouldn't hit the floor if they fell over.
And
like, we've got a fucking absolutely abysmal fucking forward line that can't score fucking goals, and you're thinking that someone like Mbuemo that wouldn't score. Yeah. Come on, man. That's why you look at Cunha and you go, he delivers goals.
Absolute
That's
nonsense,
all you need,
mate.
man. Anyway, before Ronnie loses his fucking melon, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're doing nothing tonight and you're in the Manchester-ish area, Hyde United, 7:45. Paddock need 2 wins, and we're getting one of them tonight against Haydock. I think we've only beaten like 1 in 5 or something like that. So tough game, but I think the lads are revved up for it. So we need 2 wins to promote. We get one today, we get one on Saturday. We've done it. That's the aim, that's the goal. Whether we do it or not, I don't know. If you would like to come and see us do it, it's free entry at Hyde United. Come get in the mixer. Should be a nice day for it. Yeah? And go and check your testosterone levels out. Check the link in the description. Cinnabizzle. Now, I've spoken before about how low testosterone affected me. There's low energy, there's poor sleep, brain fog, complete lack of motivation, all of that. And I ignored the signs for a long, long time. I put it down to stress or getting older. And eventually, when I got tested, my levels were low in the toilet. Starting testosterone replacement therapy was one of the best things that I did for my physical, but also my mental health as well. So I would say loads of people who come to me and say, I'm struggling with my sleep, struggling with motivation. I haven't got the energy to train. It could be loads of different things. One of those things might be your levels. You don't have to guess. That's where Manual can come in. They've made the process very, very simple, private, stress-free. They start with an at-home blood test, and your results show that you've got low testosterone. They've got expert doctors that will guide you through the next steps. Now, your test might come back and say you're fine. Well, look at the other sides. But if it comes back and says that they're low, then you speak to their doctors and you figure it out. And their TRT service will be tailored to you, because not everyone's is the same, and there is a little bit of titivation and figuring it out, whether it's the treatment or lifestyle advice. Now, for me, since starting TRT services, my energy is up. I am sharper. I feel so much more like myself again. Now, it wasn't the only thing I had to fix, but it was a major part of what I have to fix. And the reality is testosterone drops 1 to 2% per year after 35. So chances are a lot of you could be getting affected by this, and you don't even know it. 86% of the men on Manual's TRT service say that they saw better energy levels within 3 months. Don't live with the symptoms and hope that they're going to pass. Use my code Stephen45, that's STEPHEN 45, for 45% off your at-home testosterone blood kit. Head to manual.co to take the test and take the first step towards getting back to your best. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.